Hey guys, what's up? Eddie Aho here with KissAnalog.com. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to take a question or a comment from the Fried Mule. He had a great idea that I do a comparison for deep memory. That is kind of a weak point on the Keysight. It's 100,000 points is what they give you compared to 14 million points on the Siglent. So the Siglent has 7 million per side if you use two channels. If you only use one channel, you get 14 million. My GW Instax, I get 10 million per channel up there. So on all four channels, you know, I'm a big fan of deep memory. I think it's a game changer in today's scopes. But this Keysight does offer a lot of cool things. Bode plot's one of them, a generator output. The Siglent, for a lot less money, has a lot of deep memory. I kind of suspect that if they put the deep memory in this scope, they may never sell any of their expensive scopes, because this scope could do a lot of stuff if it just had the deep memory too. Without the deep memory, it still does a lot of stuff, but I think they wanted to drive people into their, you know, $20,000 scopes. I don't know. I'm not a marketing guy, but there's got to be some reason they kept the deep memory out of this when they packed it with everything else. So let's jump in this video and I'll demonstrate why or what deep memory does for you. Okay, guys? Alright, thanks for watching. Hey, thumbs up, subscribe, that all helps the channel. Let's jump into this thing. Alright guys, so we got the Keysight and the Siglent. Let's power them both up. And they're doing their self-check, turning on their lights, that kind of thing. So, I think this is $670 on Amazon, thereabouts. This is about $360. It looks like Siglent's up, Keysight is right behind it. They both come up pretty quick. Not a big deal, I don't think, because you really want a scope to warm up before you start using it. But anyway, there we go. They're both up and running. Okay, let's just make sure they're set up the same way. DC coupling, bandwidth off, fine off, invert off, volts 10x, skew off. Okay, let's check this guy out. Okay, DC bandwidth off, course adjust off, 10x, 1 meg, volts, deskew off, inverts off. So they pretty much both have the same selections. They're both all off. Alright, so both scopes, probes are in channel 1 in 10x position, and they're on the compensation of the Keysight scope. Alright, now let's see here, just a couple things about the scopes. A 7-inch screen, 8-inch screen. They both have these menus that don't go away. The Keysight's a little bit wider, but anyway, yeah, it kind of just takes up room. It's too bad that you can't push a menu off. Neither scope allows that. Okay, now I cut this cardboard out that's roughly the size of that 7-inch screen. It's a little bit crooked. I cut off a little corner here, but we come over here and we put it up here. I'll put it down here, and you can see that 1-inch difference, which means that you have this extra border and this extra border with that 1 inch. Now if you look at the usable screen for your signal, this thing here, this guy here fits just about inside that. So you know, that's the difference between a 7 and 8-inch screen. Alright, besides that, the Keysight has features that the Siglent does not. It has a 20 meg generator output, and it has a bunch of demo signals that come on this compensation output. I think the reason they put them out on this instead of the generator, I'm guessing, is because in case you didn't get a generator output option, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, all those signals that come with the education version come on this compensation thing, okay? Both are 2-channel scopes, and they both have individual controls for the channels, and The scope probes for channel 1 and 2 are right below their controls, which are great. They both have external trigger out right here. The calibration compensation for the siglets right here. They both have the USB. And the Keysight does not have the generator. Let's see, the generator coax output would be right here. It is actually in the scope hardware wise, but you can't enable it if you didn't buy the scope with it. And I don't know if I've seen one of these SDS 1202X that came with it, but the buttons are here: wave, gen, decode, and digital, but these don't work. They didn't come with the scope. Or actually the decode did come with it, so you can do your bus decoding with this scope, but it doesn't have the waveform or the digital logic analyzer output right here. And the Keysight also does, because it has the generator, also does Bode plots, which is really cool. So there is a difference in the price, but you know, the Keysight does come with more. Now the Siglent has deep memory, and that's what we're going to show today. Alright, we're going to show what the difference of deep memory is. Okay, so what we're going to do is first I just want to hit auto setup on both scopes. Let's see, where's the auto scale? Right here. And they both come up to auto scale pretty quick, and they both have that default mode, which is also nice. Both of these buttons are kind of recessed so you don't hit them on it by accident. Okay, now there's the signal. Okay, so let's just look at something. This is that 1 kilohertz wave. See up here it says 1K on the if you can see that, it says 1 kilohertz. So it's a 1 kilohertz square wave, 50% duty cycle, halftime off, halftime on. So that's 50%. 50% on, 50% off, either way you want to say it. Now what we want to do is come over to the Siglent, and let's just spread out the time base here. Now the trigger arrow's here and right there, the T. So what we can do is just spread this guy out, and you can see how the rise time, we can kind of calculate that. Here, let me just go one. That's 1 microsecond per division, and let's just say it starts here and ends here. That's about 2 divisions, 2 microseconds. Okay, and do the same thing on the Siglent. There's 1 microsecond. There you go. Okay, but what I want to show you is, let's say we're back here looking at these waveforms here. Okay, what we can do is we can use the zoom feature, and we can zoom in. And now I'm zooming in on this feature here. Let me go to, okay, that's 1 microsecond right here. It says 1 microsecond per division in this window. This window appears 1 millisecond. Okay, so you can see all these cycles we have up here. Now if we just see something funny happening on that cycle, we can zoom in and look at that edge, and then we could kind of move this over and look at this edge or that edge. So we can kind of look at a bunch of cycles and choose one to look at, and we go, okay, that's what I want to see. And that's what we're seeing here. You know, these, we're seeing the same curve, right? Okay, now let's go back here and go to 1 millisecond. So we see this waveform right here. Okay, okay, there's 1 millisecond. Same waveform, both screens. Let's go back to here. There we go, there's that rise time. Okay, now let's go to zoom over here. Now look at that. It's kind of bouncing all over the place. I can stop it and see how jaggedy it looks. Okay, I can take off, run again. You see it's just bouncing all over the place. See how jagged? It just doesn't have enough, it's not getting enough capture points in this cycle, that when we zoom in on a segment, that we're not getting enough, you know, data points to get a nice clean edge. So if I turn off the zoom, let this guy run, and then what if instead of going 1 millisecond, let's go to 2 milliseconds. That's 2 milliseconds per division. And what we might be looking for is something happening. Maybe, you know, there could be some squirrely thing going on, and we just want to zoom out so we can pick what waveforms we want to see. Now if I hit the if I hit the zoom, now you can see it's really acting up now. Now you can almost see how square it is. The data point here, data point here, data point here. Okay, one here, so you can kind of see, I mean, you can kind of see how, you know, square, you know, like data point, data point, data point, you know. It's like that coloring book when you're a kid, maybe, that, you know, color by numbers. You get so many data points and it's connecting the dots. Okay, so that's 2 milliseconds per division. So now we zoom out, it looks kind of square again because, you know, there's enough data points where it looks square when you do that. It's just a problem when you try to zoom in and maybe you want to see what the waveform looks like zoomed in like that. You don't have enough data points to do it. That's where deep memory comes in, guys. So we can run this thing, let's turn off this. So you can only imagine if we went to say 10 milliseconds, right? That looks okay, right? Now let's zoom in on that edge. Look at that. Okay, now over here, let's do the same thing. Let's go to 10 milliseconds. Okay, you know what? I'll go to 100 milliseconds. Now it automatically goes into roll mode when I start going too much time. So I turn off the roll. Now I have to wait for it to capture, you know, the screen. Okay, now if I zoom in, it's starting to look a little bit digital. Now that's 5 microseconds if I zoom in on that. Alright, so see, right at this point, I'm trying to go less than 5 microseconds and it won't let me. It says that's my zoom limit based on the points. So I can't get to this point where it's doing that, but you can see how smooth it is. Okay, let's go to exactly the same screen that is, to the 2 milliseconds. Or sorry, that was 10 milliseconds. Let's go to 10 milliseconds. Okay, there's 10 milliseconds. Now zoom in again. And this window down here is 2 microseconds per division. So let me go to 2 microseconds. There it is. Looks pretty nice, right? There's 1 microsecond. Looks fine. I can see a little bit of a square wavyish chalkish thing down here, but that looks pretty nice compared to that, right? So for this one, let's go backwards and see how we have to go. Okay, let's go down to, there's 1 millisecond, and it's kind of not that great. If I stop it, you can kind of see it's almost, but not quite. It's kind of chunky looking, and that's 1 millisecond per division. If I go to 500 microseconds, let's see what that looks like. Now that looks much better. So 500 microseconds per division up here. So that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waveforms, I get a nice 1 microsecond. Well, actually that's 2 microseconds. Get a 1 microsecond curve. If I stop that, I can still see where it's not totally smooth, but it looks okay. That's 500 that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waveforms, okay? Look at all these and I still get a nice waveform. So that's 10 milliseconds. If I went to say 5 milliseconds, I mean, look at all those cycles and I still get this really nice waveform. So that's deep memory, guys. Okay, now just to show you one more signal and to have a little fun with the educational functions this scope provides. Oops, sorry, I hit some button up there. Let's go to the help menu and we'll go to training signals, and it tells you to hook your scope up to this compensation, which we've done. Okay, so then I'm going to go here and I'm going to scroll down to amplitude modulated sine wave. That's a pretty cool signal. Now just for fun, okay, now we got that capture on both scopes, okay? Just for fun, let's hit auto setup on both, see what happens. pretty close to the same thing, right? Pretty close. Now over here, you can actually see all the different modulated amplitudes. So you can see, you know, where we're getting a lot more data actually captured. It looks kind of the same when you first look at it, but now, by the way, because we're not getting this picture, because it's because we're capturing all these gradients, it's not quite as sharp, right? It's not quite as bright compared to this one in the camera. To my eyeball here, it looks a little bit not as bright as this one, but it doesn't look as bad as it does on camera. On camera, it doesn't pick up as well. So, you know what? What I can do is I can go to display, and I can turn on color gradient. Now you can see the color gradients here. So you can see that information. You know, where the bright lines are is where you're getting more waveforms, and so you can kind of see how it's being modulated, right? And you kind of see how it's kind of jumping around a little bit. It's actually triggering pretty well. That's pretty nice. Okay, now I'll tell you what. Let's go zoom out a little bit. I mean, look at that. That's pretty cool. Look at the gradients. Now that's 2 microseconds per division. Let's try to duplicate that over here. That's 2 microseconds per division. You see how you can see the different amplitudes? Because this is being modulated. The amplitude's being modulated. Some sine waves are this low, some are this high. But over here, you don't really see that detail. Okay, now let's zoom out a little bit farther. There we go. Back to that signal. See if I can trigger that. Usually the trick is you come up here somewhere with the trigger, and then you have to go to delay. And that kind of, or the hold off here, okay? Let's do the hold off thing. And that usually helps. That usually helps zero in on that trigger. At least I think. Let me get. I want to get a few more cycles, by the way. Okay, I'm changing the color on this for the persistence. But okay, let's go this hold off. That's getting pretty close, I guess. It's still a little bit jittery, right? Let me get some time on this hold off. See if I can get that a little bit less jumpy. If I push it in, I can get numbers up here. Let me just go to 1 millisecond. I'm just curious if that will do it. That was 19 milliseconds. That was by accident. I kind of hit an extra number in there, but that's locked in pretty solid. Okay, now let's come over here. This is 1 millisecond per division. Let's come over here and get 1 millisecond. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with the trigger, bring it up, and then we'll go to the delay. Let's get the menu up here, the hold off, I'm sorry, and let's try that. Now when I push this in, it doesn't give me that pop-up menu that this one gave me, but it does turn a lot faster. It has this accelerate turn when I start turning, so wow, it just like boom. So that's nice. But you can see the difference, right? Like, there's the picture right there, okay? Now what we want to do is zoom in on the waveform. Now, you can see how chunky it is. Now I can zoom in this one, and look how smooth it is. So, 1 microsecond down here, 1 millisecond up here. Same thing here, 1 millisecond, 1 microsecond. So that's what deep memory does. It gives you more data points to collect so that you can reproduce when you zoom in. And so if I want to move this zoomed in portion around the screen and look at things, I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to see this nice sine wave. Now you can just imagine, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now in this screen, it's a longer screen. This one has 10 grids across here, and this one has 14 grids. So we actually see, because of the longer display, they decided to give more grids. So you can actually see, you know, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bursts, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you get an extra couple. So even though I get an extra couple, so I got even that much more data up here, I still can zoom in and collect a very nice sine wave. So that's 1 millisecond. Let's just go to 5 or let's go 2 milliseconds just to kind of show what 2 milliseconds does. Look at that chunky thing. Now come over here and go 2 milliseconds and then zoom in. Still perfect sine wave. So that's our deep memory, guys. Okay, let's just go one more step to really illustrate the point one more time. Let's go to 5 milliseconds. So we got a bunch of cycles here. Turn off this guy. 5 mils. Oh, there's 5. And then we'll push the zoom in and push the zoom in. Still perfect sine wave, and look at that thing. So, you know, sometimes when you're looking at a waveform, you want to see many cycles because you might have certain cycles that have issues. And so you want to zoom out so you can see where the issues are, and then you want to zoom in. So where you don't have deep memory like this, you would just, you know, you just have to spend a little more time trying to capture it so you could find it. But with deep memory, you can come out, look at the big picture, and you can zoom in and not worry that you're losing points. So you can have confidence that your measurements are, you know, are real. Now, what I want to do is I want to just zoom in on the screen just so you can see a close-up of the screen of all the data points, you know, and I'll just point those out to you so you can see the difference of the screens, okay? Okay, so on the Keysight, you can see it says demo mode. That's this cool educational thing. I'm going to push the help menu. See the training signals getting started. I hit the training signals, and then I come down here and it shows all these cool training signals. So I just want to show you that. But here, let's turn these guys off for a moment. So here's your acquisition. This is what the home screen looks like. It tells you where we're sitting. Here, I'll hit the 0 position. It zeroes it out. If I move this up and down, you can see how that changes. This shows times 10 position, DC coupled, and it shows channel 2 even though I don't have it turned on, which I'd almost rather have that just turn off because it makes me feel like I have channel 2 turned on. Same up here, channel 2. Channel 1 shows 1 volt per division, so if I change this, you can see how that half volt changes with me. And here's my 1 microsecond zoom in. Here's my 5 millisecond window up here. So if I zoom out, see, there's my 5 milliseconds. When I zoom in, it goes to 1 microsecond. That's down here, 1 microsecond per division. Here's the auto acquisition mode. And here's the trigger position and up arrow for it shows me that basically it's telling me I've got an edge trigger, plus I'm triggering on the positive going edge, and I'm triggering on channel 1. And then down here it shows me my 2 channels. Again, I don't have channel 2 turned on, but it still shows me the settings, which really reproduces or replicates the information here. That's why I really wish this window would just disappear when I'm not using it so I get a bigger screen. And this acquisition, this 1 megasample per second, they could put that up here, down here or something. But yeah, I just wish I could hit the back button and get rid of that, you know. Okay, let's look at, oh, and then here we have the date down here. All right, let's go Siglent and take a look at that. Okay, in the Siglent, it shows it, you know, the triggering here, 5 milliseconds, the 1 millisecond zoom. It shows a Z for that. Delay is 0, and so it does kind of give a little bit more information what the numbers mean. And by the way, here's a trigger point on this, and there's the reference for channel 1. Here's a trigger position for the vertical trigger. And again, I'm stuck with this menu and I'm stuck with this, you know, border. But I've got my frequency counter up here, and I've got my samples per second, and my currently I'm at 1.8 million points, where I have up to 17 million points. And again, a little more information. Actually says edge, shows me the arrow, kind of a waveform, L, the level. So again, a little more information. Channel 1 DC, and then here's the information for channel 1 here. So 1 volt per division. Down here just shows what, you know, menu I have chosen. So if I push this, you come back to that. So where the Keysight gave you some information down here, it was kind of a repeat of what was here. They just have it here. And down here is just the menu that you're stuck with. And this particular scope has, it shows 1 mega ohm impedance if that's what you're looking at. This guy right here actually has a 50 ohm as well. Not very many scopes come with 50 ohm, but this guy actually, underneath this button, I can push, see it says 50 ohm, or I can go to 1 meg, and that's what that 1M is, okay? That's kind of a neat thing on this Siglent. Here, let me zoom out. On this 1202X, hopefully you can see that. I don't know, the light's kind of bright. 1202X, but the X-E 7-inch screen, same size as a Siglent, or same size as the Keysight, and it does not have the 50 ohm impedance either, but you do get 1 million points on your FFT. And there's a few other things, but anyway, this isn't about that. Oh, and in case you're wondering what the display looks like without the color turned on, see, here's the color gradient on. Persistence is off. You can turn on persistence too, and then it fills in some data there as well. You can kind of see the persistence changing here. But anyway, so I just want to show you that was not on. Color and gradient is, if I turn it off, it looks, you know, more like the Keysight. Although you get more gradients as far as gray and brightness. If I come out of zoom mode and you change that, you kind of see what I'm talking about there. Okay, let's just go back to Keysight real quick. Okay, so just so you could see what I'm talking about. Alright guys, I think we'll do it for this deep memory thing. Okay guys, I think that'll do for the deep memory talk. So hey guys, what do you think? Did you learn something about deep memory? I hope that was a good demonstration, and I hope you can see how, you know, having that bird's eye view, lots of cycles, and still being able to zoom down like a hawk and seeing, you know, the details is really handy. And deep memory, game changer in today's scopes. Now, the Keysight, this particular scope has educational signals, you know, things come out in this comp pin that, wow, all the different signals you can choose to help you learn how to use a scope and practice using, you know, triggering on hard to trigger signals. There's a guide that helps you walk through this kind of stuff. Really cool educational scope. Lots of neat buttons. Ergonomics are awesome. Very, robust. I mean, this scope's kind of heavy scope. Really cool scope. I like the generator on the output too. 10 megahertz function generator. And, you know, lots of cool things on this scope. Really neat FFT, Bode plot analysis, lots of cool stuff, but no deep memory. So, deep memory, that's where Siglent comes in. This guy does not have the generator, does not have some, you know, can't do the Bode plots, not like this guy can. I'm sure there's ways to work around that, but anyway, it does have deep memory. So, thanks Fried Mule. Thanks for asking the question and asking for a demonstration. I hope that was what you're looking for. And you guys, anybody that has any questions, they want to see some comparisons, want to see something on this Keysight scope, I think I have it for a few more days before I have to return it. So let me know, alright? And for that matter, if you want to see something on the Siglent, the GW Instax. Now by the way, just to let you know on this Siglent, this is the SDS 1202X. There is the X-E, which looks a little different. 7-inch screen like this guy. Does not have the logic analyzer output here, but neither does this. Did not come with the option. But anyway, it does have the 1 million points FFT, which that's another thing I want to demonstrate is FFT. Another demonstration on FFT. I've done deep memory once before a long time ago, but hopefully this was a better one. Anyway, hey guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe, thumbs up, that helps the channel, and we'll see you next time. Let me know what you want to see. Okay, thanks guys.